welcome you into St. Francis Prep, where tonight in the Catholic High School Basketball Association, we present this showdown of AA Brooklyn Queens powerhouses as the Royals of Christ the King make the trip to Fresh Meadows to take on the Terriers of St. Francis Prep here on the Varsity Media Sports Network. This game brought to you by Maspeth Federal Savings Bank. Good evening, everyone. Dylan Butler here with you, and it's a packed gym here on a Tuesday night. Excited to bring you this battle of Brooklyn Queens powerhouses. Christ the King coming in with a 15-4 record, 11-1 in the league. St. Francis Prep 14-4, 9-2 in the league. The Royals have won 3 straight after a loss 68-64 at home to Stepinac. They went on the road. They beat Iona Prep. They beat St. Peter's. And then most recently on Sunday afternoon, they beat Xaverian. In that game, Brandon Gardner, 21 points, 7 rebounds. Brandon Williams, 15 and 10. Markel Alston, 12 points and 10 assists. And Bryce Merchant had 11 points. It was certainly a balanced effort for the Royals, as it has been throughout the season. We'll take a look at our impact players now for Christ the King. One negative for the Royals is they are missing a guy who arguably has been their best player throughout the season, Pong Quinfong, out with an ankle injury. So today we'll focus in on Brandon Williams, the UCLA commit. 10 points, 6.6 rebounds per game, plays inside out. And Devin Vanterpool, not only can he shoot the basketball, you see he averages 9.8 points per game, but also the best defender as well. And he'll have the responsibility, as he did in the first game, to guard St. Francis Prep's best player in Josh Pasquarelli. The Terriers, 14-4, 9-2 on the season. They've won 6 games in a row. That includes a 74-64 win, a non-leaguer, against Scarsdale on Saturday. In that game, Josh Pasquarelli, 31 points, 8 assists, 6 rebounds. Big O, they call him. Osmana Sacco, 13 points, 8 rebounds. Tyler Michelle, 12 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 assists. We take a look at our players to watch now for the Terriers. And Josh Pasquarelli, man, this guy is putting up video game type numbers, averaging 27.7 points in his last 4 games. How about 31 points against Scarsdale, 15 against Malloy, 27 against Laughlin, and 38 against St. Peter's. He is absolutely taking his game to another level. And Big O, we just mentioned him there, the freshman. He's in the starting lineup now. This is his 3rd game starting. Osmana Sacco, 6'7" out of Far Rock, 8 points, 8 points and 8.5 rebounds per game for the freshman who has made his way into the starting lineup. It's the second meeting between these two teams. The first was before the Christmas break. You go back to December 20th in Middle Village, and St. Francis Prep had a hot start. Pasquarelli nails this long distance shot, and the Terriers, Hao Chen steps out, bangs a 3. They had a 23-21 lead at the break, but then the Royals came back, a 17-2 third quarter, provided the difference. Bryce Merchant knocks down the 3. Another balanced attack for the Royals in that 54-43 win. Dwayne Pierce had 12 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists. Markel Alston, 12 points. Vanterpool with 10. Pong Quinfong, 8 and 7. In that loss for St. Francis Prep, Josh Pasquarelli, 19 points and 7 rebounds. And Sacco had 6 points and 8 rebounds. We'll take a look at the standings in Brooklyn, Queens to further illustrate how important this one is. You see the top 2 teams there, Christ the King, St. Francis Prep, separated by that 1 game right now. you play each team home and away. So, again, we just showed you the highlights of that meeting in Middle Village. This is the last regular season meeting between these two teams. So, Malloy, an improved team. There's still a lot of basketball left in the regular season for both these teams. But if they meet a third time, which is likely, that game would be at Christ the King, where the Brooklyn Queens diocesan tournament will be this year. And who knows, maybe even a fourth matchup in the intersectional playoffs. That one would be certainly really exciting. We'll take a look at the keys for both teams in this game. St. Francis Prep, undersized compared to the 6'7", 6'9", 6'9" that Christ the King throws at you on any given night. So keeping the Royals off the glass important. Shot selection important too. You don't even need a made shot, Terriers head coach Jimmy Lynch said, but it has to even be a good missed shot to make sure that Christ the King doesn't get out in transition. He's hoping, look, Jimmy Lynch said a lot of teams are coming into his building and shooting the ball really well. Maybe it's the new lights here in this gym, but he's hoping to catch Christ the King on a cold shooting night. For Christ the King, as it was in Game 1, the key is to keep Josh Pasquarelli in check. And again, we expect Devin Vanterpool to have a big role in that. Royals want to run the offense the right way as well, and they want to play the game at their speed. They want to play the game at a faster pace, whereas St. Francis Prep wants to slow things down and play this game in the 50s, play a half-court game. You see the two head coaches there in the suit. Joe Arbitello for Christ the King, and Jimmy Lynch in the sweater as well. Arbitello, you see him there in his 15th season as head coach, a 1995 graduate of Christ the King. He took the program over in 2008, and it's been incredible success for Christ the King ever since 2010, 13, and 14. They won the Federation Championship, 6-time Brooklyn Queens champions, 6-time New York City and Catholic State champions, the last coming in 2019. Jimmy Lynch, the St. Francis Prep coach, he's in his 6th season, also an alum, 1999 graduate of St. Francis Prep. Last year's CHSA Coach of the Year as he led the Terriers to a 22-4 season where they lost in the intersectional semifinals to Cardinal Hayes 73-62. Was a longtime associate head coach, assistant coach, made his way up through the ranks, of course. Was under the great tutelage, there you see him, Jimmy Lynch, under the great tutelage of the legendary late great Tim Leary as well. Always great when you have alums, right, coaching both of the teams. Let's take a look at the starting lineups for both sides as they're getting ready to be introduced here to this large crowd on a Tuesday night in Fresh Meadows. First for the visiting Royals of Christ the King, Markel Alston, Devin Vanterpool, Dwayne Pierce. Pierce just recently committing to Iowa State. And then you've got the front court tandem, the pair of Brandons, Brandon Gardner, St. John's commit, and Brandon Williams, bound for UCLA. And now for the Terriers of St. Francis Prep, only really one change to what we've used to be seeing for them. We've got Veer Anthony, Nigel Moore, Pasquarelli, the Marist commit, Tyler Michelle, and Big O in the middle. Ousmane Sacco earning the start, his third varsity start as just a freshman. Take a quick break. We'll have the opening tip-off when we return. You're watching the CHSAA Basketball Showdown right here on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
You're watching the Varsity Media Sports Network, the home for New York high school sports.
St. Francis Prep prepares young men and women for the world of tomorrow by immersing them in the Franciscan tradition's 4 golden links: intellectual, social, spiritual, and physical. Facilities that are second to none. Teachers who instruct and inspire. Values of peace, love, and respect for the individual, community, and environment. High school is 4 years. St. Francis Prep is forever.
Maspeth Federal Savings is here through it all. The ins and outs, the ups and downs. Through the winters, the summers, and even the spring of leaks. Know that Maspeth has your back. From luxury sheets to balance sheets to dancing under the stars, your mission is our mission. And when our community calls, we proudly step forward. So whether you need it now or planning for tomorrow, through all the twists and all the turns, you can always find us right here in your neighborhood.
Varsity Media covers every sport at every level from every angle. Game film, recruiting videos, highlight videos, SPORTSCAST,
Thunder, and what a look!
photography, live streaming. You name it, we offer it. Don't leave your video needs to amateurs. Trust the pros. Contact us at 516-403-2050 or visit us online at varsitymedia.net.
It is the purpose of the Catholic High School Athletic Association to promote the highest standard of fair play and sportsmanship.
We welcome you back to St. Francis Prep here in Fresh Meadows, Queens, for this Brooklyn-Queens showdown between Christ the King and St. Francis Prep. Anthem has been played. We're just about set for the start of this one. We showed you those highlights earlier of the first meeting, spoke to both coaches ahead of this game on takeaways from that first meeting. Joe Arbitello, Christ the King's coach, said, look, we've got to play better offensively to beat them at their place. We can't let them dictate the pace of the game. He said he watched the game against Archbishop Malloy, and he said Sacco playing a lot better. They seem to be getting scoring from other places. In the beginning, the key was really just to shut down Pasquarelli, but now you've got players stepping up, as well as, of course, Sacco playing well. Sacco had a big and one in that game to get that victory over Archbishop Malloy. And Lynch, referencing that game as well, he said, look, we were really good in that first half, but we got a lousy third, and you can't have a bad stretch against them. You've got to maintain and still be in the game late. He said he told his team, look, if we're in the game with 4 minutes to go at our place, anything can happen in the game. So he said Christ the King defended really well in that first matchup. They were terrific. They switched a lot of screens, which maybe caught St. Francis Prep off guard at that point. And that caused a lot of problems. But he said, look, we're a better team than we were in December. They're on a 6-game winning streak, but so too, of course, is Christ the King. Here's a good look at Anthony, the sophomore. And there is the Marist-bound Josh Pasquarelli. Has led the way for the Terriers. Played a supporting role a little bit last year to a pair of guys who were first-team All-League players. In Latique Briscoe and Jaden Daughtry, but now Pasquarelli's the guy, and second-team All-League a year ago. Expect him to be a first-team All-Leaguer this year. Our officials for today's game, Mike Smollins, Kevin Agee, and Max Olivier. You see former Royal, now assistant coach Roland Brown. Brown, a terrific player and one of those who have won a championship. There's a lot to say that in Joe Arbitello's time as head coach. So Christ the King, St. Francis Prep, ready to tip off here on a Tuesday night in Queens. We're so thankful you're able to join us on the Varsity Media Sports Network. Opening tip won by the visitors, and it's Markel Alston, the sophomore, to bring the ball across court. Guarded closely by Veer Anthony, a man-to-man defense by St. Francis Prep. Stepping out and burying the three is Brandon Gardner. So the St. John's commit, Brandon Gardner, steps out and gives the Royals the early lead. Pasquarelli hands off to Veer Anthony. Anthony looks to shake free of Alston, gets to the basket. And it's a goaltending violation, so Veer Anthony will get the bucket as Vanterpool had the rejection. 3-2 early on. Williams up top, hands off to Pierce. To Vanterpool, tries to go down low, and this is where the advantage that Christ the King has. And William Gardner showing off his ability to score inside and out. Here's Michelle. He's picked up his scoring as this season's gone on. To Nigel Moore, guarded closely by Pierce up top to Michelle. Puts it on the court, hands off to Big O. Sacco tries to hand off. Vanterpool got a piece, but the ball will stay with St. Francis Prep. 9 seconds on the shot clock. Here comes Anthony with 5 on the shot clock. Gets to the basket. Anthony hands off. Foul line jumper. In and out. Good battle for the ball. And that was Sacco who at least made it difficult. Slapped that ball away. Veer Anthony chased it down, but it'll be Christ the King ball. Royals with an early 5-2 lead here at St. Francis Prep. Alston lost it. Here comes Vanterpool. Off glass, no good. Rebound by Williams in the putback. That was Gardner, excuse me. Hey, they're both Brandons, and they're separated by a number. Sacco steps out for 3. Back rim, no good. Good rebounds. Left hand, Sacco, no good. And Christ the King will have the ball. Vanterpool from 3, good. He is such a good three-point shooter. And a timeout called by St. Francis Prep as the Royals have raced out to a 10-2 lead. There you see the 3 by Vanterpool. Terrific shooter. He's got offers from Manhattan, Robert Morris, FAU, Howard, Missouri State, LIU most recently. 6'3" senior, can get to the basket, can really guard the ball as well. His dad, David, was an assistant coach for the Brooklyn Nets. High basketball IQ for Vanterpool. And, of course, Christ the King winning so many of those recent championships. Remarkable when you think about it. You go back to 2010, and again, Arbitello only in his 15th season, right? Took over in 08. So 2 years later, goes back-to-back, and then he wins 3 straight, so 5 out of 6. Won again in 17-19. Had a young team a year ago, but really returned so many of those parts, and you would make the argument, Jimmy Lynch certainly does, the St. Francis Prep head coach, that the Royals are the favorites. Even though they lost that game at home to Stepanak, said they are the best team. They are the team to beat in the Catholic League this year. Three-point shot by Sacco. A big one off the timeout, 10-5. Now the lead for Christ the King. Vanterpool on top to Pierce. Pierce guarded tightly, missed that shot. Rebound goes to Sacco, and now the Terriers look to push. Michelle, Veer Anthony in the corner. Three is good. So back-to-back threes for St. Francis Prep, and they've cut their deficit to 2. Alston. Pierce steps out for 3. Back rim, no good. Veer Anthony the rebound. Anthony turns, looks to navigate, and gets it to Pasquarelli. Pasquarelli from deep, that's good. That was Pasquarelli's game last year, the year before. He was known as a shooter. He's rounded out into a triple-level scorer as Alston goes to the hole. And this game heating up now. Veer Anthony wants to join the three-point party. Front rim, no good. Here comes Alston looking to push for the Royals. Spins, turns. How about another 3? That back iron by Williams. Gardner got the rebound, cuts it inside, and Pierce scores there. (14-11) the lead for Christ the King. Sacco, a really talented freshman. There's Tyler Michelle. Michelle up and under. Michelle's become that consistent scoring threat, and you need that. You can't just rely on a Josh Pasquarelli. You need to have multiple other scorers wide open on top. Gardner for 3, no good. Sacco had the rebound knocked away, and then a foul was called on Alston. His first and the team's first. So Christ the King jumped out early. Jimmy Lynch called that 30-second timeout, and since the Terriers have really played well, especially on this side of the court. Here's Michelle to Pasquarelli. Steps out for 3. Michelle gets the rebound to Anthony. Fires one down low to Big O. Big O inside. You see the potential in the freshman, and you see the reason why he's in the starting lineup. Alston elbow jumper. 4 for Markel Alston, who joins a really special group of sophomore starting point guards for Christ the King. You go back in the days, you go Omar Cook, Eric Barkley. Look at Sacco using his strength. Couldn't finish inside, though, and Gardner ripped down the rebound. Here comes Alston looking to push. Hands off to Pierce, and up top to Williams inside the final 2 minutes of this first quarter, and the Royals with a 1-point lead. Gardner draws the contact, and he will go to the line. Foul on Sacco, his first, team's first. And this sends the St. John's commit, Gardner, to the line. First is good.
Number 1, Howard Sherman, for the Terriers. Here replaces Osman.
Good look there at Gardner, 9.2 points, 4.8 rebounds, 71% from the line on the year. A freak athlete, scores on putbacks, finishes in transition. He's a great driver and slasher, and 71% from the line, knocks down both, and it's a 3-point lead for the Royals. Oh, backdoor cut. Michelle finds Pasquarelli. Vanterpool for 3. Another triple for Devin Vanterpool, his second of this first quarter. We approached the final minute of this fast-moving first quarter. Pasquarelli swatted away by Vanterpool. And a really good job by Nigel Moore staying involved, making sure he pushed that ball away. Gardner goes to the bench for Christ the King, replaced by Bryce Merchant. Merchant with 12 points in that first meeting in Middle Village.
Shot clock reset to 16 seconds.
Possession didn't change, so the shot clock will be 16. Pasquarelli, backdoor cut now. Michelle goes to his left hand, and he finishes at the hole. Tyler Michelle averaging a shade under 10 points a game. Alston to Pierce. Vanterpool steps inside, missed it long. Here comes Vera Anthony looking to tie this game. Pull-up jumper, gets the friendly roll. 7 for Anthony, and we are tied at 21. Christ the King can hold here for the final shot of this first quarter. Alston off the screen by Williams. Williams gets it back, drives, steps back out on Pasquarelli. No good. Rebound by Merchant. Good if it goes, but it is short. So Christ the King threw the opening punch, had a 10-2 lead early, but the Terriers responded, and we are tied at 21. A lot of defense here by both teams. 21 all after the opening 8 minutes. You're watching the CHSAA AA Basketball Showdown on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
You're watching the Varsity Media Sports Network, the home for New York high school sports.
Maspeth Federal Savings is here through it all. The ins and outs, the ups and downs. Through the winters, the summers, and even the spring of leaks. Know that Maspeth has your back. From luxury sheets to balance sheets to dancing under the stars, your mission is our mission. And when our community calls, we proudly step forward. So whether you need it now or planning for tomorrow, through all the twists and all the turns, you can always find us right here in your neighborhood.
Welcome back to St. Francis Prep. Second quarter about to begin. We are tied at 21 between Christ the King, St. Francis Prep, this CHSAA Basketball Showdown presented by Maspeth Federal Savings Bank. Dylan Butler here with you. A really good opening quarter, 21 all. Christ the King missing arguably their most consistent, and you could say probably also their best player, at least through this, opening 19 games of the year, Pong Quinfong. Averaging a shade under 8 points a game, out with an ankle injury. Those are always tricky because you never know quite how long you'll be out. But Christ the King, one reason why they're considered arguably the favorite is their depth and their length, certainly, and they can make up for that kind of a loss. Pasquarelli hits the brakes. Jumper no good. Tapped in, though, by Hao Chen. And St. Francis Prep takes a 23-21 lead. Chen, a really good sophomore as well. A guy who will bring a little bit of everything to you. He'll take those charges. He'll set the crisp screens. There's Williams. Vanterpool. How about another triple from him? Good. His third three-pointer of this first half. And then he's going to try to lock down Pasquarelli. Pasquarelli inside, bounces it back out. Nigel Moore averaged 20 points for the freshman team a year ago. Michelle in the lane, kicks it back out. Vera Anthony for three, front rim no good. In that first meeting in Middle Village, Veer Anthony really struggled, only scored 4. Strong move to the hole, Dwayne Pierce. Pierce, a junior, averaging just under 10 points a game. And there's Moore. Looking for help. And he finds it in Pasquarelli. Pasquarelli dumps it down low. A terrific pass, but Moore missed inside. And here come the Royals. Williams off glass, no good. And Veer Anthony checks the rear view, and he'll go to the basket. Up and under. No good. Chen can't hold on to the ball. And it's Williams. Hands off to Pierce. Pierce, a guy who Joe Albertello describes as a junkyard dog, just does a little bit of everything for you. There's Williams, plays with the grit. And a double dribble is called on Williams. Substitutions for both teams. Troy Faison comes in for St. Francis Prep. And Gardner back in the game for Williams. And this, again, is one of the luxuries that Joe Albertello has. Could play multiple guys and play in different ways. You can play both Brandons and be big. You can go a little bit smaller with some more guards and still have that size. 3-point shot. Faison! And Markel Alston down on the court. Didn't see what happened to him, but Faison, the other freshman on this varsity team for St. Francis Prep, first time he touches the ball, buries the 3. There you see the look inside. There you see, good look by our cameras down low. Looks like an errant elbow by Veer Anthony. Caught Alston.
He replaces Markel Alston.
Good work there by our Matt McCower-Brown on the baseline. So Royals, 1-point lead. In comes TJ Oliver. Pierce. Gardner back out to Oliver. He's the backup point guard, but at times plays better than the guy that he's replacing. Up top, Merchant. He's shooting 57% from beyond the arc. Bryce Merchant. Veer Anthony. Goes to Faison. Back to Anthony. Good look down low. Foul called before Tyler Michelle was able to put the shot up.
Oliver Jr. was first, team second. Number 25, Osman Sacco returns to the Terriers. He replaces Hal Chen.
Foul on Oliver. His first, team first. Pasquarelli for 3. 8 now for Pasquarelli. We are tied at 29. Vanterpool up top. Guarded by Anthony, arguably St. Francis Prep's best defender. Swings it far side. Going hard to the basket. No good. That was Oliver. And here comes Anthony. Sacco steps out for 3. Good! And Sacco's got 8. He's been pushing for more time, has Big O, and showing he deserves the extra minutes. Vanterpool, St. Francis Prep, a 32-29 lead. Puts it on the court. Oliver. Jumper off, no good. Smart move there by Pierce to push it out of bounds off of Pasquarelli, so it'll stay with Christ the King. Williams back in the game for Christ the King, replacing Merchant. Vanterpool, another triple. Oh, yeah. His 4th 3 of the first half. In fact, every attempted shot by Vanterpool has been a 3. Look at him now diving on the court. And then a foul will be called on Pasquarelli. That's how you get college coaches interested. If you're a Vanterpool, you knock down your shot on one end, then you play really hard, you dive on the court, you defend. As Pasquarelli gets the foul, his first and the team's second. And he's collecting guys that he's just locked down this year. Vanterpool driving is Williams. He'll get the friendly roll. But Vanterpool, Darren Harris, who's going to Duke at nationally ranked Paul the 6th. Well, he held him to 4 points in their star-studded game against Sierra Canyon out in California. Held Bronny James to 12. And he's doing that while knocking down these threes and averaging 9.8 points a game. 2-point lead for the Royals. There's Nigel Moore. Moore. Sacco. Puts it on the court. Hands off, gets it right back. Under 10 on the shot. Faison. Moore for 3. Good. 7 different players have scored for St. Francis Prep. They are sharing the basketball and knocking down their 3-point shots. Here's Gardner stepping out, no good. Oliver rips down the rebounds. Gets it to Pierce. Back up top to Oliver. 1-point lead for St. Francis Prep. Williams, foul line jumper, front rim no good. And the putback by Gardner. Listen, when you got 6'9", that's going to help, certainly. 3-point shot, no good. Sacco flies in for the rebounds. And a second opportunity here for St. Francis Prep. 1-point lead for the Royals as we approach the final minute of this first half. Josh Pasquarelli steps back. Oh! I think John Dunn up at Marist likes that. Another triple for Pasquarelli. Errant pass picked up by Oliver. 2-point lead for St. Francis Prep, 38-36. Gardner to Pierce. Guarded closely by Anthony. Vanterpool missed the 3, and now St. Francis, with the lead, can hold for the final shot. Pasquarelli, guarded by Williams, puts it on the court, gets to the basket, and a foul is called. That's a good foul to take because you've got, it's only the 3rd team foul. And in fact, if you want, you could foul again as long as it's not in the act of shooting. You force St. Francis in this situation to inbound with 3.8 seconds left. Sacco right back out. Moore, a deep 2, no good. And that will do it for the first half. So St. Francis Prep 38-36 lead at the break. Balanced scoring. A lot of three-point shots as well. We're joined by Terriers head coach Jimmy Lynch at the half. Jimmy had a half.
Is that game over? That's
game?
not the end of the game?
No,
we got to hold on to half of that?
You do. Well, you had a lead in Middle Village as well.
Obviously
you struggled in the third quarter. Obviously, you struggled in the third quarter of that game. But what did you think here of the first half?
I mean, we're going shot for shot with them, which is fantastic. We got to defend a little bit more. We gave up 36 points in a half. Sometimes we give up 36 points in a game. So 36 points in a half, no good. But our kids are playing so hard. We told them play loose, play free. They're doing that. Some of the shots I scratched my head, but they're going in for us. So right now we're in good shape.
7 different guys who have scored as well. You like that as well, to have that balance.
Yeah, of course. Everyone's kind of getting in the mix. Be shot ready. Troy Faison went into the game, gave us some great minutes on a defensive end, but then he made a shot, and that's what we need guys to do, step in and make a couple plays.
You mentioned maybe better defense, but what else do you want to see in the second half?
Just keep playing loose and keep playing free. You're on your home court. It's a great environment. You got a couple weeks left in the season. Why not take a shot against the best team in the league?
There you go, Jimmy Lynch.
Thanks, guys.
Joining
Thank
us.
you.
Halftime here at St. Francis Prep, and the Terriers with a 38-36 lead. We'll take a break. We'll get you some halftime stats as well. You're watching the CHSAA Basketball Showdown on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
You're watching the Varsity Media Sports Network, the home for New York high school sports.
Maspeth Federal Savings is here through it all. The ins and outs, the ups and downs. Through the winters, the summers, and even the spring of leaks. Know that Maspeth has your back. From luxury sheets to balance sheets to dancing under the stars, your mission is our mission. And when our community calls, we proudly step forward. So whether you need it now or planning for tomorrow, through all the twists and all the turns, you can always find us right here in your neighborhood.
Hi, I'm Gene Sterator, CBS Rules Analyst and longtime sports official. For the adults watching this video, you grew up in a world where officials, umpires, and referees for youth sports took their place regularly and reliably ahead of game time. Today, unfortunately, it's getting harder and harder to fill those jobs. Videos showing abusive treatment of officials multiply on social media. And there have been consequences for the dreadful behavior of players, fans, and coaches. Massive shortages of officials now lead to games being canceled, and the positive effects of athletic competition are at critical risk for this generation and those to come. I'm hoping we all can begin to see youth competition through a different lens. Today, mistreatment of officials has become normalized, and we are facing an abnormal future where no officials to hire means no games on the schedule.
Any call, any decision, any human effect on wins and losses has become subject to not just withering criticism, but physical threats. There's a vicious cycle at work. Fans chase away officials, and there is a smaller pool to draw from, which makes it harder to get quality, well-trained people in position. The entire game suffers.
Did you know, according to the National Federation of High Schools, 80% of new officials quit the game after just 2 seasons because of abusive behavior from the stands and sidelines? This sort of verbal abuse and threatening behavior takes a toll on all officials and makes them leave the game altogether.
Did you know, from 2018 to 2022, an estimated 50,000 high school referees, roughly 20%, have quit. Half of the remaining referee population is at least 50 years old, but young officials are rarely staying more than 3 years in the job.
If the number of officials working contests in all sports doesn't begin to increase, there won't be enough officials to work the games. That means schedules will get cut, teams or even sports might get canceled. In many states, this is already happening.
Remember that officials are invested in what they do. Many officials have regular, full-time jobs, and they're sacrificing time away from their families. Try to demonstrate empathy. Put yourself in their position. Think how you would feel about getting yelled at throughout your workday.
Yelling and arguing with officials sends the wrong message to young players. According to Play by the Rules Sports Advocacy, it teaches them that it's not okay to make a mistake. They can blame others for their actions. They can disrespect authority figures. And it's okay to be rude and selfish.
You know, officials enforce rules, keep competitions fair, and make player safety a priority, allowing youth sports to be a valuable arena for growth. If we can all just work together and be more empathetic to not just the officials, but everyone else in youth and high school sports, we can then preserve what many of us have embraced about athletics. And you and I know the benefits of sports, right? Let's spread that gratitude and be proud of what we can build and not blind to how it's being torn down. Calling officials cheaters or corrupt, it's not a game.
Insulting referees, it's not a game.
Threatening officials, it's not a game.
Berating young umpires, learning the ropes, it's not a game.
Violent language in the stands, it's not a game.
Verbal abuse from the sideline, it's not a game.
Screaming at a referee in the parking lot, it's not a game.
So what happens now? Your response in the heat of the moment is the only thing you totally control, and we have an experiment for you to try. Simply stated, just cheer for your child or the team you're there to support. Move that desire to lash out to a different place and encourage without rage. Your child's sporting memory should be about how you helped inspire and not about how you caused embarrassment.
If you're an event organizer looking for a media company to cover live streaming, action photography, and game video for your event, look no further. Varsity Media travels throughout the Northeast covering weekend tournaments, showcases, and championships. Contact us today to learn about our services and packages at 516-403-2050 or visit us online at varsitymedia.net.
Maspeth Federal Savings is here through it all. The ins and outs, the ups and downs. Through the winters, the summers, and even the spring of leaks. Know that Maspeth has your back. From luxury sheets to balance sheets to dancing under the stars, your mission is our mission. And when our community calls, we proudly step forward. So whether you need it now or planning for tomorrow, through all the twists and all the turns, you can always find us right here in your neighborhood.
For the best action shots and the best angles, look no further than Varsity Media. Our experienced photographers capture your athletes' best moments right from field level. Plus, we offer great keepsakes like bobbleheads, posters, plaques, and prints. For more information about Varsity Media's photography services, contact us at 516-403-2050 or visit us online at varsitymedia.net.
Varsity Media covers every sport at every level from every angle. Game film, recruiting videos, highlight videos, SPORTSCAST.
Under, and what a look.
Photography, live streaming. You name it, we offer it. Don't leave your video needs to amateurs. Trust the pros. Contact us at 516-403-2050 or visit us online at varsitymedia.net.
Welcome back to St. Francis Prep here halftime. And the Terriers with a 38-36 lead over Christ the King. An entertaining first half. We were tied at 21 after the first quarter. and then a 2-point advantage for St. Francis Prep. In the second quarter, the difference in this one where a lot of different guys are scoring the ball for both teams. You mentioned before 7 different players to score for St. Francis Prep. Here are your leading scorers at halftime. Vanderpool, 4 3-pointers. Was never great at math, but 4 times 3 equals 12. This one of Vanderpool's 4 3-pointers in the first half. He's a guy who's averaged 34% from beyond the arc. So a good shooting first half for Vanderpool. His job on the other side of the ball is to defend that man, Josh Pasquarelli, who leads the way for the Terriers with 11 points. He's got 3 triples. Here's one of his, steps back on Gardner and buries that 3. And the freshman, Ousmane Sako, with 8. And guess what? He's nailed a couple of 3-pointers as well. The 6'7" freshman has. Here you see Vier Anthony. Watch Sako, 25, getting himself in shooting position. Catch, shoot, score. So Sako, 2 threes in that first half. 8 points for him. Christ the King, 6 different scorers. They had 6 3-pointers in the first half. St. Francis Prep with 7 different scorers. They knocked down 8 3-pointers in the first half. So entertaining first half, and there is the actual Terrier. Hey, he's not been out the last couple games we've been here. I guess the Terrier, there you see him, is more of a nighttime dog, right? Like the 4 o'clock starts, I think, are too early for the Terrier. Who's, by the way, has grown, I got to admit. As a 1992 graduate, the school used to be known as the Lil Terriers. So that's a tiny dog, maybe like more of a puppy. This guy, he's more of a grown dog. So second half about to begin, and we've got a busy couple of days here on the Varsity Media Sports Network. This is actually our 3rd consecutive day of broadcasts. We will take a couple of days to reset and recycle, and we're going to head to the ice on Friday night. Big one in the CHAA Hockey League, where it's a battle for first place. Christ the King. Chaminade takes on St. Anthony's, a big rivalry on the ice, really anywhere. Those 2 teams playing in Dix Hills Friday night, and then on Sunday we will be in Middle Village for another rivalry as Bishop Laughlin takes on the Royals of Christ the King. 3:30 tip for that one. Set to start here, second half. Christ the King ball coming out. And Pierce hands off to Alston. Alston works off the screen by Williams, gets to the basket, rims around and in. Alston with 6. And we are tied again at 38. Sako. Anthony lost the ball, picked up by Pierce, and here comes the Royals in transition, but an errant pass by Alston intended for Williams missed the mark. This is a big quarter for the Terriers especially. In the first meeting, St. Francis Prep had a 2-point lead at the break. Then it was a 17-2 third quarter, and Vier Anthony pulls up at the foul line, knocks down that shot. And that's where the Royals took that game over, as they did a few days earlier on the Grand Concourse in the Bronx, when a huge third quarter against Cardinal Hayes led to a blowout win by Christ the King, which then also gave them that moniker, if you will, as the team to beat in the CHCA. They did get a blip a little bit, if you want to call it that loss to Stepanak. Boogie Fland, what a day he had for Stepanak in that nationally televised game, but No offense to Pat Massaroni's side, I still think Christ the King, and we heard Jimmy Lynch say it in our lead-up to this game, Christ the King's still the favorite. That shot by Moore off the stanchion here in the gym. Vanterpool, 4 threes in that first half. And here is Williams. Puts it on the court. Hands off, Alston. Drives, Alston. Strong basket for Alston. He's got both of the Royals' baskets in this third quarter. And here's Tyler Michelle. Sacco swings it to Anthony. Drives. Oh, that's pretty. Double figures now for VR Anthony. He's got 11. And here's Williams looking to drive on Pasquarelli. Steps back. Three-point attempt is good. I think the St. Francis Prep bench might say got a little push off, but still had to bury that shot. That one was short by Pasquarelli. And look at the job by VR Anthony, and that's what you've got to be aware of him at all times. How about another triple? Pasquarelli will bury this one. 14 for Pasquarelli. Second team all CHSA a year ago. I think the odds are pretty good. He will be first team this year. Pierce, jumper, no good. Batted back out by Gardner to keep this possession alive. Alston the hot hand, third quarter. Front rim. Too much there for Williams, but Alston gets the putback. 10 for Alston. Anthony. Up top to Sacco. Ooh, nearly lost his dribble. Sacco hands off to Pasquarelli. Pasquarelli averaging 27.7 points in his last 4 games. Williams the rebound. Looks to drive. Williams inside. Too strong. Pasquarelli the rebound. Terriers want to slow this pace down, and there's a foul at midcourt. Foul on Pierce. His first, the second of the first of the second half. Hao Chen back into the game, replacing Sacco. Chen was a guy who sat last year behind Jaden Daughtry. Daughtry just got his first start for Marist. Did really well for the Red Foxes. And soon he might have a sweet mate in Pasquarelli. Pasquarelli looks to drive, lost the handle. And then he's going to be called for the foul as Vanterpool got going. And actually it's on Chen. His first. And the team's first of the second half. Joe Arbitello, the Christ the King coach, said the response that his team had with 3 straight road wins in the Catholic League, which is never an easy thing to do, shows that they can win a championship this year. Backdoor alley-oop there by Vanterpool. That's his first basket, not outside the arc. And the Royals with a 2-point lead. Anthony kicks out. Faison for 3. Rims around, no good. And Vanterpool gets the rebounds. Nearly lost it. Williams down low. Hoop and the harm. Gardner with the finish. Chen called for the foul. And Gardner, the guy who's made great strides this year, plays with a great motor, a leader here completes the three-point play. A 50-45 lead for the Royals, and a really good timeout there by St. Francis Prep head coach Jimmy Lynch. Again, first meeting, they were outscored 17-2 in that third quarter. So he wants to make sure that he keeps things in check. Joe Arbitello, Christ the King head coach, he is in a race for 300 career wins. Look at this list of the winningest active CHSAA coaches. You got Tommy Frere up at Mount St. Michael with 470. Fred Opper just down the street at Cardinal Spellman with 433. Joe McGrain at Xavier, 404. Congratulations on eclipsing that 400 win mark. And then you got Loads and Arbitello. Who will get 300 first? The funny thing is when I told Joe Arbitello that in the lead up to this game, he said, I had no idea. He goes, I thought I was somewhere around like 240. And I said, to get to 300 in the regular season, if you want to get it in the regular season, you've got to win out. Because you can get it in your last regular season game against against Scanlon at home. Another game that we'll have for you on the Varsity Media Sports Network. Jimmy Lynch not on that list yet, but man, with seasons like he had a year ago, 22 wins, 14 wins this year, those all add up. So after timeout in the second quarter, it was really good for St. Francis Prep. Let's see if they have a good response here off of this timeout. And a double foul called against the opposing number ones underneath. Dwayne Pierce and Hao Chen each picking up a foul. It is Chen's third, and it is Pierce's second.
Shot clock will be reset to 19 seconds.
So referee Mike Smolin just making sure the shot clock reset to 19 seconds. Possession never changed. Here's Faison. Dual sport player, varsity player in football as well as basketball as a freshman. Here's Vera Anthony, 6 on the shot clock. Pasquarelli, they've got to go. Pasquarelli, 2 on the shot clock, no good. And the rebound goes to Christ the King. Here's Vanterpool. Gets it to Williams. Puts it on the court. Nice pass. Alston, the fake. And in doing so, draws the foul on Faison. Sacco checks back in for Chen. 5-point lead for Christ the King. They jumped out to a 10-2 lead in the first quarter. That was their largest. Inside to Gardner. Guarded by Sacco. Oh, good shot by Gardner. Sacco. Extra pass, Pasquarelli, 3, no good. And you're sensing maybe that momentum tide going the way of the Royals. Dwayne Pierce, tough jumper. Nine-point lead for the Royals. And a steal by Pierce. And Pierce with the dunk. And another timeout by St. Francis Prep. You see Pierce getting up. 6'6" junior, recently committing to Iowa State. And it's the largest lead of the game for the Royals, 56-45. 45. We'll take a look at the upcoming schedule for the Royals. Next up, they head Friday night to Archbishop Molloy. That should be a fun game, as always, at Jack Curran Gymnasium. One of my favorite gyms in the Catholic League. Then that home game Friday, that rivalry game against Bishop Lachlan. Tuesday, the 7th, against Holy Cross. And there's that game you mentioned before for Scanlon. So 4 more games left in the regular season. And that could get Joe Albertello to his 300th career victory. Royals at 15-4, 11-1 in the Catholic League. Opened the season with a trip to London, and that was one of their first game. Actually, was their first loss to Paul VI. They've of course played a national schedule. Went out to Springfield, Missouri, to the Bass Pro Shop Tournament of Champions. Went out to California to take on Sierra Canyon, where LeBron James and Carmelo Anthony and the Kardashians, and it was a wild scene out there in California. But Sierra Canyon picked up that win on that day. Terriers need a response. Veer Anthony, corner 2. And the ball deflected on the way there. So we're going to stay with St. Francis Prep. Need a quality shot here if you're St. Francis Prep. Here's Sacco up top. Vanterpool guarding Pasquarelli closely. Now the double comes. And a little bit too much on that pass, looking for more. It's a good defense by the Royals, forcing the turnover. And the Royals, with their largest lead of the game, have an opportunity to extend that lead. Markel Alston. Inside, Williams, and he'll be fouled by Pasquarelli. His second, and the team's 5th. So Williams will shoot 2. In that trip out to Sierra Canyon earlier this year, Brandon Williams got a chance to see his future teammates, and actually the entire Christ the King team did as well. Went to a Mick Cronin practice, and what an education that was for Williams. The intensity that not only his future head coach but also his future teammates had got him and his teammates a lesson in what it's like on the Division I level. 13-point lead for the Royals inside the final minute of this third quarter. Sacco for 3, rims out, no good. And the third quarter, again, being a difference here in this second meeting. Not quite as dramatic as the first one, where Christ the King had a 17-2 edge, but still pretty big, as Veer Anthony tried to navigate his way through the Royals, fouled on his way into the lane.
His first, team's third.
Foul on Vanterpool, his first, the team's third. Shot clock is off, 22 seconds left in the third quarter. A third quarter that's been dominated by Christ the King. Anthony for 3, and it's good. A desperately needed shot there, but now the Terriers need to stop. Markel Alston. He's had 8 in this third quarter, and a 3-quarter court shot by Anthony was short. So the Royals, they trailed at the half, but they've got a 12-point lead after the third quarter. You're watching the CHSAA Basketball Showdown, presented by Maspeth Federal Savings on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
You're watching the Varsity Media Sports Network, the home for New York high school sports.
Maspeth Federal Savings is here through it all. The ins and outs, the ups and downs. Through the winters, the summers, and even the spring of leaks. Know that Maspeth has your back. From luxury sheets to balance sheets to dancing under the stars, your mission is our mission. And when our community calls, we proudly step forward. So whether you need it now or planning for tomorrow, through all the twists and all the turns, you can always find us right here in your neighborhood.
Welcome back to Fresh Meadows Queens inside St. Francis Prep for the fourth quarter as the Royals with a 60-48 lead powered by a 24-10 third quarter. Again, that first meeting in Middle Village, it was 17-2 of the third quarter. St. Francis Prep hoping to bounce back in the fourth. This is a battle of the top two teams in the Brooklyn Queens division. Round two of what is likely to be 3, and it could be 4. However, this is the only meeting here at St. Francis Prep where the Terriers have been so good the last couple of years on their home court. Veer Anthony. Can it be a positive start? And it is, as Pasquarelli scores inside. .16 now for Pasquarelli. Interior pass. Williams, turnaround jumper, no good. And here comes Tyler Michelle. Michelle thought he was fouled. Alston got the tip. Bodies flying, and inside is Pierce as Williams went down at midcourt. 10 now for Pierce. And that's what you get, too, from Christ the King. So many games, you'll get 4 and 5 guys in double-figure scoring. Michelle. Turnaround, tough jumper, no good. Gardner the rebound, he gets it to Williams. Williams looks to shake Anthony to Alston. He's got the hot hand right now, in and out. Pasquarelli the rebound, and the Terriers will look to push. Anthony fakes the 3, steps inside the arc, no good. Offensive rebound by Moore. Nice bounce pass, and Tyler Michelle scores. Michelle's been quiet since scoring 4 in the first quarter. That's his first basket since. And it's a 10-point game, 62-52. You heard from Jimmy Lynch leading up and at halftime, too. The points are a little bit high right now. He can't play, he doesn't think, a Christ the King in the 70s and the 80s. So they'll need some stops here in the fourth quarter. Faison back in the game for the Terriers. Big possession. Terriers can cut it inside. 10 points. Pasquarelli post up, surrounded by Royals. The extra pass. Michelle open 3, and he buries it. Back-to-back buckets by Michelle. Slashing hard through the lane, in and out for Gardner. But the ball will stay with the Royals. Tyler Michelle, the junior. At the start of the year, Jimmy Lynch said he thought Michelle was a little bit too unselfish, but he's become more of a scorer. Right off the inbound, it's Williams for 2. Sacco, he's hit on his way to the basket.
Varsity King foul on number 4, Brandon Gardner, his first, team's fourth.
Foul on Gardner, his first, and the team's fourth. As the freshman Sacco will go to the line. First free throw good. Sacco a double-double against Malloy. Knocks down both. He's got 10 now. Tremendous potential for the freshman. 64-57. Nice move inside by Williams, and a timeout is called by Christ the King head coach Joe Arbitello. We showed you Christ the King's upcoming schedule. How about what the Terriers have coming up? And always fun when Holy Cross and St. Francis Prep meet. It is the Battle of Francis Lewis Boulevard. Two teams separated by, I believe it's 2.3 miles of Francis Lewis Boulevard. That's always a big meeting. Dwayne Mitchell's, they'll go up, I think, to Monsignor Scanlon on the 5th. Then it's Iona Prep and Archbishop Malloy for St. Francis Prep. A team that, when they first met Christ the King this year, the question was, where are we among the elite? And actually that question's remained for St. Francis Prep, trying to figure out, are we a top 4 team? Are we a top 2 team? The jury's still out. I would suspect, though, through 18 games and 11 in the league, that I think it's a safe bet to say that St. Francis Prep is among the top 4. Now, they beat Stepanak here. The Crusaders were undermanned. Did not have Ben Little. They did not have Danny Carbucia. Stepanak then went to Christ the King, beat the Royals. The Royals beat the Terriers, and that's the way the league is going to be this year. Not much separating, certainly in the top 4 teams. Then you got a guy like Naz Muhammad for Zavarian, could just take games over for the Clippers. Here's Pasquarelli in the paint for 2. 18 for Pasquarelli. Vanderpool back to Alston. Three-point shot off the mark. Pierce gets the rebound. Vanderpool to the hole, and he's fouled on the way there. A foul on Michelle, his first and the team's 6th, which will send Vanderpool to the line to shoot 2. Most recent offer for Vanderpool, LIU. And there you see some of his others as well, Robert Morris and Manhattan. Second is good as well. 16 for Vanderpool. And it's a 9-point lead for the Royals. 4 minutes left. Terriers need to make a push here late. Pass down low. Sacco. And he's fouled inside.
Foul number 3, Brandon Williams, his second, team's 5th.
Foul on Williams, which will send Sacco back to the line. No offers yet for the freshman, but we certainly expect that to change in the near future. First free throw, no good. Sacco, terrific hands and feet. He can shoot. He's great around the basket. He'll go 1 of 2 from the line. Moore checks back in for Faison. 11 now for Sacco. 8-point lead for Christ the King inside 4 minutes of this fourth and final quarter. Christ the King looking to make it a season sweep. Alston switches hands, no good. Rebound, though, goes to Gardner up top for Vanterpool, and a 30-second timeout called by Christ the King. Take a look at the standings, and again, to show you how important this game is, and you see there Christ the King leading the way. The top seed, St. Francis Prep, number 2, Malloy. Much improved Stanners team. Mike McCleary's got his guys in 3rd. And there we see Zaverne. We just saw Bishop Loughlin. They're 2-10, but they're a dangerous 2-10, especially now that they're full strength. And you've got Christian Jeffrey back in the lineup for Loughlin. And again, the Brooklyn Queens championship game will be played at Christ the King. So home court advantage for the Royals. That game alternates each year. Last year it was here at St. Francis Prep, 2 of the biggest gyms among the teams in the Brooklyn Queens. Oh, backdoor cut! How about that finish and the foul by Williams, and it feels like that is a dagger. So Pasquarelli picks up his 3rd and the team's 7th. And Williams will look to complete the 3-point play and extend the Royals' lead. He does not finish at the foul line. 10-point lead for the Royals. Pasquarelli goes quick. Rejected by Gardner. Here's Alston. Williams feeling it. Williams fouled on his way.
Carrying foul number 13, Tyler Michelle, the 2nd, team's 8th.
Michelle called for the foul, his 2nd and the team's 8th. So it'll send Williams back to the line after just missing his first free throw of this game. And Williams knocks it down. Williams, when he's at his best, he's going to play inside out. He'll guard, he'll shoot, he'll get to the rim, he rebounds, he can take it to the post. Loves the low block. And this time knocks down both free throws. 72-60 to lead for Christ the King. 3 minutes left, 4th quarter. Pasquarelli forced that one, no good. Joe Arbitello across the way telling his guys, relax. They've got a 12-point lead in the ball, and they will milk a lot of this shot clock now. Here's Pierce. Swings it. Vanterpool for 3, front rim no good. And here comes Veer Anthony the other way. Anthony kicks it out. 3-pointer all, but the foul is called. So Nigel Moore will go to the line to shoot 3.
Here's his 3rd, team 6th. Nigel Moore at the line, shooting 3.
So Moore, who averages 8 points a game, held to just 3 to this point. Well, 4 now with that free throw. Was a terrific scorer for the freshman team a year ago. Jimmy Lynch loves the potential for Moore. Really played well in a win at Mount St. Michael this year. And he buries all 3 of his free throws. It's a 9-point lead for the Royals. And out of necessity, St. Francis Prep picks up full court press. And the Royals get the ball to Alston. Swings it to Williams. Alston up top. Here's a steal, and Michelle comes away with it. Faison, 4-3, no good. Pasquarelli the rebound. Back up top, Michelle for 3! And that is good. St. Francis Prep calls a timeout with 1:43 left. Michelle with a pair of threes in this fourth quarter. We got a ball game here. Here you see it again. Faison the miss. Pasquarelli rips it down. Sidearms it. And then at the top of the key, the 3 by Michelle. 12 for Tyler Michelle. We expect full court pressure again by the Terriers. We expect them to jump around a little bit on defense, trying to create a turnover. .143 left in the fourth quarter. 2-2-1 is the press by the Terriers. Dwayne Pierce throws it away. Here comes Pasquarelli. Pasquarelli to the basket. 20 for Pasquarelli. Another timeout for the Prep. It's a 4-point ball game. Look at Pasquarelli, and this is something that he's improved on down the stretch of this season. We mentioned before, 27.7 points in his last 4 games. It started with 38 points and 5 rebounds in the win against St. Peter's. Follow that up with 27 points and 8 rebounds against Lockland, 15 against Malloy, and then 31 against Scarsdale. Jimmy Lynch says, look, Pasquarelli understands there's going to be times that we need him to do that kind of a thing because some other guys might be struggling. So he's figured out at times how to take over the game. Again, the press, another steal. Faison misses the layup. And the ball goes out of bounds, and it'll go back to St. Francis Prep. Can the Terriers complete what could be a comeback for the ages? Veer Anthony. They're trying to get it to Pasquarelli. Faison in the corner. Back out to Anthony. Drives off glass. Too high. And the rebound is ripped down by Gardner. Ahead to Pierce. Double, triples. And a timeout called by Joe Arbitello. Arbitello just shaking his head. He's told his guys to play, to calm down, to play relaxed. And they've kind of done the opposite here in this final 2 minutes of this fourth quarter, which has made this game maybe a little bit too close for comfort for the Royals. We mentioned Sunday afternoon, Bishop Loughlin and Christ the King. That'll be our next basketball broadcast. We'll have that one for you from Middle Village, a 3:30 tip Sunday afternoon between Loughlin and Christ the King. Always fun when those two teams meet. Royals winning on the road in Fort Greene earlier this year. .51 seconds left in the fourth quarter. Here's Vanterpool. And he is fouled by Anthony, and that is the guy, if you are Joe Arbitello, who you want to go to the line. Still the single bonus. Vanterpool, this is his third free throw of the game. He's made his previous two. And he knocks that down as well. Averaging 80% from the line is Devin Vanterpool. .17 on the game now for the senior. Make it 18. Two really big free throws there. 74-68. Veer Anthony's got to go inside. Pasquarelli gets two more. Alston, they got a foul. Vanterpool. Pierce gets it. And honestly, if I'm the Royals, I just keep the ball in Vanterpool's hands. But Michelle picks up his third. Also the team's 10th, so a double bonus. Pierce to shoot two. His first two free throws attempted of this game. He averages 72% from the line, knocks down the first. And that's the other thing. This is a really good free throw shooting team as well. Pierce, 72%. Williams, 80%. Gardner, 71%. You mentioned before Vanterpool at 80, so when it gets to late game situations and you have to foul, it's hard to say which guy you're going to foul. They can all make their free throws. And that ball stolen, and Alston will go to the line, and that, you feel, likely seals it for Christ the King. Foul on Veer Anthony, his second, so Alston will go to the line to shoot two. Alston, of that group of Royals, the lowest shooting from the foul line, only 67%. But he knocks down that one. And a second as well. 8-point lead for the Royals. Veer Anthony for three, no good. Rebound goes out of bounds, stays with St. Francis Prep. And the Royals 12 seconds away from completing the regular season sweep. We expect these two teams to meet again as Michelle will get two more. That would be in the Brooklyn Queens playoffs, perhaps even the Brooklyn Queens championship game. 78-72, the final score. Christ the King with the win. We'll take a quick break. We'll get the player of the game when we return right here on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
You're watching the Varsity Media Sports Network, the home for New York high school sports.
St. Francis Prep prepares young men and women for the world of tomorrow by immersing them in the Franciscan tradition's 4 golden links: intellectual, social, spiritual, and physical. Facilities that are second to none. Teachers who instruct and inspire. Values of peace, love, and respect for the individual, community, and environment. High school is 4 years. St. Francis Prep is forever.
And welcome back to St. Francis Prep. Final score again, 78-72. We're joined by our player of the game, Devin Vanterpool. 18 points in the game. A lot of threes early on, some big free throws as well, fourth quarter. Devin, a similar situation a little bit to your game at home against these guys. You trailed at the half. Third quarter at home was 17-2. You had made a big statement there. This one wasn't as dramatic, but a 24-10 difference. What happened there in the third quarter for you guys?
Coming out, they had 38 points. For us, that's too much for us because we're a good defensive team. So second half, we came out, we were ready to defend, really. Our offense was pretty good, too. So,
yeah, I feel like, this is another one of those nights where when you guys put the stuff up on social media, I think there's going to be 4 or 5 different guys in double figures, double-doubles. I mean, you guys do a great job, I think, of sharing that offense. Nobody really scores more than 10 points a game for you guys, or 11 points.
Yep. Well, I mean,
averaging-wise.
Yeah. Deep team. Like I said before in the interview when I had with you guys, we just got a deep core.
What do you think about the response, too? You had that tough loss to Stepanak at home, national television. You reeled off now 4 straight wins, all 4 on the road. It's a statement you guys are making.
Yeah, I mean, we lost that Stepanak game. Not really too much we can do about it, but, we were just able to bounce back. We still got, a bunch of games, a bunch of important games in front of us. We're still trying to stay in first for this upcoming playoff.
Well, you got Lachlan at home. We know that on Sunday, and we'll be there for that as well. So maybe we'll talk to you after that game as well.
Okay.
Devin Vanterpool, great job. Congratulations.
Thank you.
On the win, big win for the Royals on the road. So another big performance by Christ the King in the second half. Again, they trailed at halftime, and they pull out a 78-72 win. The Royals improve to 16-4 on the season, 12-1 in the league. The Terriers, they will fall to 14-5, 9-3 in the league. That'll do it here from us in Fresh Meadows, Queens, for our entire Varsity Media crew. Our executive producer, Ben Turchin, our cameraman, Matt McCower-Brown and Ron Pierre, for our technical director, Chris Sweeney. I'm Dylan Butler, thanking you for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you next time right here on the Varsity Media Sports Network.